Welcome everybody to our What's New in Cbtf webinar, our kickoff to 2021. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and I hope that you find this information helpful going forward into the season, which is kind of an unknown season and new to all of us, but hopefully we can all work together and make it through and have a successful year. I'm just going to start by allowing Joanne to bring welcoming remarks to our crew here.
All right, thanks, Dana. Again, welcome to everyone. And I am so thrilled that we have so many people that are able to join us this time. So sometimes change brings great new opportunities. And so to have the number of people that we can have on this call tonight is just absolutely fabulous. Of course, we're going to be going over what's new in Cbtf. We have at the board and technical committee level and other committee levels worked really hard throughout the course of the year, and we're getting ready to inform you about the 2020 and 2021 competition season and what that is going to look like. Also, our thanks to the Education Committee that has worked hard in putting together tonight's webinar. So on behalf of our Board of Directors, welcome to everyone tonight, and looking forward to what's going to come for baton twirling in Canada this next year.
Great, thanks, Joanne. So a quick outline of what this evening will look like. We'll start with our introductions, and then we're going to move into some new season reminders. And I'll just let you know that a lot of the new season reminders are probably going to sound familiar from last season. I thought it would be important to bring them forward again because we didn't really have a season. So I'll go over some things that you'll need to remember to have in place for this coming year. Then we're going to touch base on our athlete coaching and judging programs. We'll bring you a little bit of Wbtf news. We'll talk about our national and potential international competitions. There's quite a few administrative updates to go through, and then of course we'll have time for question and answers at the end. So I'd like to take time to introduce our Cbtf Technical Committee. My name is Dana Pedaleski, and I'm the Technical Chair for those of you who don't know me. Our past Technical Chair is Jeff Johnson. Our Wbtf Technical Advisor is Maureen Johnson. Our Judges Rep is Jenna Jemayev. Our Wbtf Judges Rep is Ron Kopes. Our Coaches Rep is Maureen Johnson. Our Athlete Rep is Shauna Spencer. Our Group Rep is Leisha Strawn. Our Sdp Rep is Sarah Mujo. And our Sanction Officer is Sue Mepham. And our Provincial Technical Reps from BC, we have Tracy Isons. From Alberta, it's Jenna Jemayev. Saskatchewan, Ilan Pollock. Manitoba is Sarah Sabeski. Ontario is Deirdre Leslie, who has just taken the position. So I'd like to thank Leanne Wilson for her contributions over the past few years. Quebec is Lisa Petre. New Brunswick is Brenda Arsenault LeBlanc. So I'd like to thank these people for all the work that they do within their province to keep the technical programs running. And our Education Committee is made up of myself, Maureen Johnson, Jenna Jemayev, Karen Grattan, Jeff Johnson, Ron Kopes, and Joanne Moser. So just moving into our new season reminders. As usual, after your provincial AGM, which some have taken place and some are about to take place, submit your newly elected provincial reps contact information to our Cbtf secretary. The email address is up on the screen. And it's important because we use this information to create the group email addresses that are used by our national reps to contact the provinces. So if you don't submit your provincial reps, you're likely missing out on our communications. Competition results. Hopefully we're going to have competitions. So reminder, please send this info immediately after every competition. And you can use the competition results form on the website to directly upload and submit your results. And that can be done as a PDF, a Word, an Excel spreadsheet, however, what format you have them in. And there's a quick link over on the right-hand side of the website, so it's easy to find. We do use the results to calculate Athlete of the Year awards and our Challenge Cup awards. So if you aren't submitting, your athletes aren't being credited with their points. And we do require all the results from graded and competitive events. So not just your advancement scores, we want everything. You don't need to submit pre-competitive stuff. We do not collect those results. For the graded medals, we're just going to send out a little reminder that you're expected to use the standard Cbtf medals for our graded events because it is a national program, and you may continue to use old stock until you run out. I'm thinking you're probably out of old stock now. So make sure that you are using our graded medals, and you can order those from the quick links graded medal order form on the website as well, and submit your order directly there. And remember to order enough medals to cover the individual graded events and your group graded events. Judging lists, as usual, we want to receive the list of your judges for your competitions, and that's another quick link on our website over on the right-hand side. That when you fill that out directly on the website, it will automatically get forwarded to Jenna and Ron. So you don't need to send an email, just use that form. Please send those well in advance, at least 6 weeks if you can, to allow for the certification check. And if a judge judges an event that they're not certified for, the results are invalid. So we don't want to do that to our athletes. And if there's any last minute changes to your list, which I anticipate there will be in this coming season, please notify both Jenna and Ron. And for that, you can either go and fill out the form again on the site or zip them an email, please. Music tagging protocol. So again, just a reminder from last year that it's important that all music files are labeled correctly. And we have a resource in the library under music labeling and tagging that'll walk you through it. This ensures that our music is easily accessible by the music technician. And in order to be labeled properly, both the music file name and those deeper properties must be used, and it's described in detail on the website. And just a reminder, our provincial technical reps are the ones responsible for ensuring that all music within their province is tagged and labeled correctly. So here's a little snapshot. Please go to the website to get the whole PDF and the step-by-step to walk you through it. But for freestyle, we want the word free with the age division, status level, first name and last name. For the pair event, we want the word pair, the age division, status level, and both of their last names. And for groups, you can use the event abbreviation, which you'll find down here, the team name and the club name. And your club names you can find either on the website or now within our new membership system. The abbreviations are used there. Another reminder about our extended music. So the extended solo music, only level BA and A will use the extended solo music, and that applies to duet as well. And then for 2-baton and 3-baton, this is again the same as last season, level BA and level A only. So for level C, BN, and BI, our judges should stop judging at the beep. You can put your heads down and no credit for material after the beep at the C, BN, or BI level. Team trial berths. So hopefully we get to host the 2021 Canadian team trials. And just a reminder that we have a rule in place that each province will be allowed to send up to 5 entrants in each freestyle pair or team division, with an additional berth earned for each final round placement at the previous Canadian team trial. And that previous Canadian team trial was 2018. So here's the berths that your province has earned and are eligible to send to the 2021 team trials. If you have any questions, or if I pass by this too quickly and you aren't sure of how many you can send, your technical chair can send me an email. Compulsories, effective September 1st of this year, so in place now. This was put in place last fall. In order to enter the level C compulsories in an open competition, an athlete must have attained their silver pin, And in order to enter the level B compulsories in any competition, an athlete must have attained their gold pin. And yes, the SDP must be done in order, and all of the badges leading up to each of the pins must be passed by the athlete in order to be tested for the pin. The rolls and 2 baton pins are the exceptions. They are optional within the program. Advancement. So this was in place as of January 1st, 2020 for this season, but of course we didn't make it through this season. So just a reminder, advancement in status levels from provincial winter championship events shall not become effective until September 1st of that year. So had we had provincials in April or May of 2020, those status levels would have been frozen until September 1st. So it's a rule we had in place for qualifying for Canadians, but we cleaned it up just to apply across the board because there was confusion if you were going to Canadians, if you weren't going to Canadians, how this all worked. So now we've just made it clean. Everybody's frozen until September 1st. So this applies to our medley, solo dance, twirl, solo, 2 baton, 3 baton, duet, twirl teams, dance twirl teams, freestyle team, and artistic group. Although with the groups, it doesn't really affect, September 1st doesn't matter, but it would freeze them until the Canadians where they've qualified. And status levels for all open competition athletes and groups will freeze as of May 31st until September of that year. So hopefully making it a little bit easier and less confusion as to when you move up. Qualifying score. So this one was just a little bit of a cleanup motion that we had at the recent fall meeting. Because we had put in place a qualifying score for our dance twirl teams and our pom-pom teams, but we had neglected to put one in place for our freestyle teams and artistic groups. So this is just stating that those events must achieve a net score of 30 from at least one judge at their provincial winter event to qualify for the Canadians at the B level. And at the A level, freestyle team and artistic group must achieve a net score of 50 from at least one judge at provincials to qualify for Canadians. Something new this year in terms of announcing. So please make sure that your competition announcers are aware. For group events, the name of the club will not be announced when the group is taking the floor for competition, and the name of the group should not be included in the title of the group for announcing purposes. But for tabulation and printing of the program, club names can remain attached to the group name, and the club name is definitely to remain for music tagging protocols. And just within your province, be aware of the potential duplicate group names from different clubs, because oftentimes we as coaches will just use the name of the song as the name of our group, and that could cause there to be 2 or more groups with the same name. So here's a little example. Our former approach, our old approach, would have the club name and the group name listed on score sheets, master sheets, announcing, program, and tabulation files. And going forward, we just want the group name on score sheets and master sheets and used in any type of announcing. And you can still leave the club name attached to the group name when you're printing your program, and of course when we're doing tabulation. And our return to play group guidelines. So our provincial group reps under the direction of our Cbtf group rep, Leisha Strong, has been meeting and developing some general guidelines that you can use. I've broken the image up into 3 slides here, or 3 squares to fit it on my screen, but it's just one large document. And of course, with everything being so fluid and different within all of the provinces, there's no one specific approach, but this is a very good general guideline that you can use within your province and your clubs, just as reminders when you're able to participate in group events, which I know not all provinces are able to do yet. Some are lucky enough to be able to do that, and others are still waiting. And we've done some work on developing some competition phases to use during COVID-19. So there are going to be 5 phases of competitions that can be offered, and they are a good combination of athlete judged on video, live online, and live in person. So this document outlines the options for individual, duet, pair, and group events, but it's dependent upon your provincial health guidelines in each province. So all of your provincial technical chairs have this PDF, and they're free to circulate it. And I'm going to go through each one in detail, but we hope that this gives you an opportunity to offer something to your athletes this year. 5 different options here, and hopefully something will work at every point during the different phases that all of our provinces are in. And just a reminder that all of these events still must be sanctioned. So going through them in detail. The first one is video reviews, and we're coloring this red. So that means that athletes would film and submit videos that are assigned to judges for judging at their leisure, so within a specified time frame, similar to what we did with the online badge testing program. So athletes would receive a score sheet with comments and just a range. These results do not count towards advancement. And the sanction required on this type of a competition format would be a type C closed competition. Our next one is orange. Video virtual is what we're calling it. Athletes would film and submit videos that are then categorized into divisions. Judges would join online to watch and judge the video submissions in real time. So for example, there would be a Zoom host controlling the playback of the video and would move it along at the pace of a regular competition. Score sheets and masters would be emailed and sent to your tabulator for your event. And again, this one, results do not count for advancement. You just require a type C closed competition sanction. So if the athletes are on video, the easy way to remember it is if the athletes are on video, the results don't count for advancement. Moving into a completely virtual competition, this would be our yellow competition. Athletes would be live and online, and the judges would be live and online. So the athletes would twirl at home or in an individual chosen location at a specified time. So I would suggest that you follow a set system and you give the athletes the time that they would log into Zoom when it's their set. Keep in mind, you're going to need really good internet and video capability on location. Score sheets and masters can be emailed and uploaded in real time to the tabulation team. And maybe you could arrange for the announcement of awards where everyone who participated could join in on a Zoom conference. These results do count towards advancement because the athletes are twirling live. So you would require a type B open competition sanction for this event. And a little bit later on, I'm going to touch base on what to do if you have facility restrictions in your province at the time. So we'll get to that in a minute. Our next competition is blue, virtually judged. So this is where the athletes are live and in person, and the judges are live online. So this one would require a facility with little or no capacity or little or no physical distancing restrictions, or get creative and schedule your divisions such that the capacity restrictions can be met. So maybe you would want to say all the juvenile divisions in all the disciplines are going to run at 9 o'clock, and you clear those people out and clean the facility and bring in your junior divisions. Whatever you can do to get this meet the requirements of your facility. So again, you would need good internet and video capabilities, and try and run this as close as possible to a regular competition, but the judges aren't in the facility. So we all know there's still the inability and the not willing to travel. So scores would still be flashed on the Zoom or whatever platform you use. The masters and the score sheets would be emailed and uploaded to tabulation in real time. And these results would count for advancement because you're running the athletes live and in person. Again, a sanction B open competition is required. And finally, what we're all aiming to get towards is just our good old regular competition. green, athletes in person and judges in person. So if you have that ability in your province with a facility with no capacity or physical distancing restrictions, or you're still able to run it within those capacities, and you can get judges into the building and they don't have to travel, because we have to remember that not all provinces have local judges available, and then run this as close as you can to a normal competition. This would be a sanction type B open, or hopefully you can run your provincials this way. Fingers crossed. So that was developed at the fall technical meeting, and right now the education committee is preparing a proposal for pre-competitive events, and we'll send that to the board for approval as well. So what I've just gone through is applicable to our competitive events. And then just moving on, I touched base on the sanctions. So later tonight, you'll see a new official sanction request form posted on our Cbtf website. It is PDF fillable. So you will save the file from the website, enter your information, save it again under a new name, and then you will email it to your provincial sanction officer. So follow the same process, just hoping to make it a little bit easier with this fillable form. So just blowing up this middle part here. So fees still apply to each event. You would select your event there. You'll see that right here, we've added a new line. So running an open competition, which is our type B, with a COVID-related facility capacity restriction. So if you run into this where you can only have a certain number of people or athletes in your facility, and you have to sort of lessen the size of your competition or restrict it due to the COVID capacities, you can still sanction it as a type B and run it that way. We just need to know on the sanction form that that's what you're doing. And then something new on this form is any competition, if you sanction it as type C, B, or A, we want to know how you're planning on running it. So please, this is a drop-down menu. Just click there and select the type of competition that you intend to run. And again, keeping in mind that things have to be fluid. If you sanction it one way and it changes and you have to do something different, let your sanction officer know and they'll forward that on to our national level as well. So I'm going to now hand it over to Jeff to talk about our online membership system.
Okay, so the system was officially launched September 19th. We ran a couple training sessions online in August. We did record those sessions, and so a recording of those, the second session, is available on the Cbtf YouTube channel. If anyone either missed out on attending one of those sessions or if they need to review any of the information that we went over. With the new system, we have clubs and provinces can export their own membership data. And so that becomes helpful if they want to have customized renewal forms for their members, where the renewal form has the person's name and existing membership number, their existing membership types, and so on it. So a starter version of that renewal form is available from the Cbtf second vice president. It's a starter form. It will require customization for each province and or club. Simple things like logos, but also you'll have to customize it to have your own provincial fees. So, because different provinces have different fee structures for type A, type B, and so on. Mentioned that clubs and provinces can export the data from the membership system. And so that can be used for the renewals, but it can also be used for any kind of membership data listing process that you might want to have. I know there's some provinces, for example, that need to submit data to various provincial bodies about their membership. So this helps them out, and obviously clubs will be able to pull their membership lists pretty easily now. One of the major change with the new membership system is that clubs are directly processing the membership, the new member and the renewal member data in the system. So they don't just collect forms and ship them off by mail. They'll actually process the new information in the system, they'll electronically submit a batch to their provincial registrar, and then the provincial registrar does the same thing. They'll electronically submit a batch up to the national registrar. Payment processing is all done the same way as it was previously. So if whatever the provincial arrangements were, if they paid by check, if they could e-transfer, that all stays the same. The one sort of special case in terms of membership processing will be for unaffiliated members in each province. They're unaffiliated, so they don't belong to, they're not members of a club. And so new unaffiliated members and renewal unaffiliated members, those get processed by the provincial registrar. And that's about it.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Looking forward to the new system for sure. Okay, so now we're going to move ahead into our athlete programs, and I'll touch base on our skills development program. So first, most of you or all of you have probably seen and heard about our online Sdp testing that took place over the summer. So a huge thank you. Our adjudicators volunteered and donated their time to adjudicate 721 badges. So we had Brenda, Kelda, Wendy, Loren, Natalie, Kim, Siobhan, Andrea, Maureen, Nancy, another Kim, Debbie, Stephanie, Sarah, Megan, Shannon, Leanne, and myself were busy adjudicating all summer. And I want to send out a special thank you to Jeff and Sarah. Jeff set up our online ability to upload all those videos, and then Sarah had the pleasure of going through and assigning all of these badges tests to our adjudicators, keeping us all in line, keeping us all on time, and getting those results back out to the athletes. So thank you to everybody who participated in this program. And the feedback we've heard was that the athletes and coaches quite enjoyed it, something to do, something to work towards. And I'm just glad that we were able to offer this program for our athletes this summer during this difficult time. So moving ahead, our skills development program is actually, the content of it is scheduled for review. So Sarah has been collecting and compiling feedback and suggestions, and we've kind of nicknamed it a shopping list up until our fall technical meeting. And during this season, we are in the process of forming the Sdp review committee. Some people committed at the technical meeting, and other provinces needed to still get back to me with the name of the person that would volunteer for this committee. So once we get all that in place, we'll get the committee up and going. And their job will be to review that shopping list and develop the proposed changes. So come this time next year, the 2021 fall meeting, the presentation of the proposal will be presented for approval, and hopefully some preliminary supporting tools, a manual and video for approval at the fall meeting. And then during the next season, which is 21-22, we'll pilot that new program, work out any of the kinks, and develop the final supporting tools, the manuals, the videos for coaching and adjudicating. So lots of work coming up in the skills development program in the next year or so. And now just a reminder, or actually, sorry, a recommendation that came out of the fall technical meeting is the statement that Cbtf recommends that coaches progress their athletes through the Sdp in tandem with the pre-competitive events. It is recommended that an athlete achieve their bronze pin prior to entering pre-competitive solo 1. And it is recommended that an athlete achieve their bronze 2-baton badge prior to entering pre-competitive 2-baton 1. So if we can make sure that our athletes are progressing through their badges and their pre-competitive events, that would be wonderful. Moving ahead to our pre-competitive athlete program. So this is another, the standard routines of the individual events are also scheduled for review during the 21-22 season. So again, we are collecting and compiling our shopping list, or we've done that, and we are forming the pre-competitive program standard routines review committee. And again, got the commitment from some of the provinces, and then others were still determining who their member would be. So if you can send those my way as soon as you know. And again, our Our job will be to review that shopping list, prepare a package and a proposal for the Fall Technical Meeting 2021, pilot that all in the next season, and develop those final supporting tools for our coaching and judging programs. To note, our pre-competitive standard group routines are scheduled for review during the following year. So we're in the process right now. If you have feedback to submit or to add to our shopping list, so up until next September, the Fall Technical Meeting next year, you can send those comments to our group rep, Leisha Strawn, and then we'll go through the same process next year, forming the committee and preparing the proposal and then piloting. Moving into our competitive program for athletes, just wanted to send a little reminder about our long-term athlete development program that we have in place. This document's available on the Cbtf website. And we being the technical committee and the education committee, refer to this to guide our decisions surrounding our athlete programs. So I just wanted to bring attention to our competitive areas, which are train to train, learn to compete, and train to win. It does outline our baton specific events at each of the levels, and then it kind of gives, it outlines the competitions that the athletes at those levels can be participating in. So that will tie into, I'm not going to go through all the details on this, but that does tie into our next few slides here. Nations Cup and World Championship qualification standards. So we had a subcommittee work on this over the past year, and it was approved at our Fall Technical Meeting, implementing some standards to enter into and compete and then eventually represent Canada at international events. So we always have an intent to compete form that's due typically around November. So a year from now, you'll see intent to compete forms come out. And at that point in time, there's no standard required to submit your intent to compete forms, but you're going to want to consider the minimum net scores that must be achieved by the entry deadline. So what we've done is put in place, come the NCQ, the Nations Cup qualifier or the World Championship qualifier, entry deadline, which is typically in the spring of each year, March or April. An individual, pair, or duet must have achieved a minimum score of 3.5 in the B division, 5.0 for entry into the A division, and 7.0 for entry into the elite division at a Cbtf sanctioned competition for each event. And our solo dance twirl scores will be accepted in place of our artistic twirl scores. So you're not going to be able to enter the competition unless you are at this standard. For the teams, it's 35 for B and 50 for A and elite. And for artistic groups, it's 35. And then once you compete at that qualifier competition, just placing in the top 3 or the top 6 is not going to get you an automatic spot. You also must achieve a minimum net average score in the final round at that qualifier in order to claim your spot in the contingent. So you have to get the 3.5 in B, the 5.0 in A, and the 7.0 in elite in order to qualify. And then in teams, you have to get the 35 in B or the 50 in A and elite, and the 35 in artistic groups. So that one is just to set some standards and to encourage our athletes and coaches to really look at what competitions they're aiming for each year and to work within the long-term athlete development guidelines to attend the competitions that are targeted at their level. There is with this proposal, and you can get it from your provincial technical chair, it was in the package. There's a very nice chart that was developed to aim towards guiding athletes if they should aim to compete at the Pan Pacific Cup or at the Nations Cup or the World Championship. So you can review that with your coaches and athletes, and it gives a good outline of expectations and what we think the athletes should be doing and achieving to get to the different levels of competition. Moving into our freestyle and pair events, again, working off the long-term athlete development model, we are going to be offering 3 levels of freestyle and pair. So now we're going to have level BI, level BA, and level A. And right now, the level BI and level BA athletes will still perform the level B compulsories, and our level A athletes will perform the Wbtf short program. So athletes in pairs will start the discipline at the level determined by their coach and will not revert back any levels. So that's no change to our current situation. That's how we allow our athletes to start the freestyle or pair discipline. Athletes or pairs that have competed level A will remain level A. Athletes and pairs that have competed level B in the past for this season will choose either BI or BA, or even A if that's where their coach is going to guide them to start our 2021 season. And along with this, now we're going to have the qualifying scores from provincials to Canadians. We had this in place previously, but now we've broken it into the 3 levels. So in order to get from your provincials to the Canadians, you have to score a 25 in BI, a 35 in BA, or a 45 in A. And that's the total combined score that you get from tabulation. So it involves both your compulsories or short program plus your freestyle tabulated score. And just keep in mind that the existing qualification procedures for team trials, our top 5 plus the provincial berth, still applies for getting from your provincials to the Canadian team trials. And with the new 3 levels of freestyle or pair, we are implementing advancement scores. So a score of 35 will advance an athlete into level BA, and a score of 45 will advance an athlete into level A. So this is something new. We've never had advancement scores that make you advance when you achieve them. But we're going to put in place that the advancement would occur in the season following the achievement of the score. So that's for our freestyle and pair. So if you start the year in BI freestyle and you score your 35 or higher, you won't have to move up until the following season. And we've put some suggested requirements in place for freestyle and pair. Right now, these are just suggestions and guidelines. They're not rules. So in order to do BI, freestyle or pair, that's at our learn to compete level. You should be BI in solo and BI in either medley or solo dance to do freestyle. And we're recommending that you be BI in duet and either BI in solo or two baton to do a pair. And the same follows down the line for BA freestyler pair and then A freestyler pair. So this is, a guideline to help coaches and athletes decide where they should be in terms of their entry for freestyle or pair the first time they do it. And along with this, we are implementing content restrictions. So these are following along very closely to the Wbtf content restrictions. I believe there's one slight change, but it's important that all of our freestyle and pair coaches learn these content restrictions, read up on them. If you have any questions, please go through your technical chair to ask, and they can always reach out. I won't go over these in detail, but we do categorize them by spins and stationary complex. There's never any restrictions in level A, so you can keep that easily in mind. There's double element trick outlines. We're not allowing any in BI. You can do 2 of them in BA, and of course, as many as you wish in A. There's outlining the travel complex, content restrictions, roles, and contact material. There's no restrictions in the contact material. And just a note that there's the expectation that content should be horizontal and vertical, right and left hand, forward and reverse direction, and use of the planes. And then for the pair event, all of the above restrictions are applicable for individual tricks as well as for exchanges. Moving on to our coaching program. So just touching base quickly on our realignment. So last year at this time, all of our coaches that were in the Technical Association received a personalized letter outlining their placement in the new coaching program. And this year we are using the new naming for our coaching levels. So you no longer have to, we no longer have, or you can no longer refer to yourself as level 1, 2, or 3. Those don't exist anymore. Everyone now is either in training, trained, or certified at our new levels, which are baton twirling foundations, competition 1, competition 2, and competition 3. We will have competition 4 certification, and those details are to follow, but nobody has been placed in that category yet. There are some who are eligible and definitely will be placed there, but we're just working out the details on that. So now's the time to go through and check your bios that you have posted everywhere on your websites and your social media, and make sure that you are changing and referring to your coaching level using our new realigned levels. A note on the Baton Twirling Foundations course. So the theory portion has been available since October 2019, and now our practical course is ready and provinces may host, but you just must follow your provincial health guidelines related to COVID restrictions. And our Baton Twirling Foundation course conductors are listed on the screen there, and I'm happy to point out that we have a course conductor in each of the provinces. So that will help with not having to fly somebody in across Canada to conduct your Baton Twirling Foundations course. So hopefully making it easier on each of the provinces, less expensive, and more easily accessible. And then moving into our judges, again, with our realignment, we have a team in place who met weekly throughout the summer and made good progress on these courses. And now we're just going to be starting to put them together. There's still more work to be done, but our adjudicator 1, 2, and 3 courses are in development and targeted for launch in the new year, hoping to be able to recertify our existing adjudicators probably towards the end of February and March. And then after we do that, we'll run the courses for new adjudicators in the spring. And then we're going to start recognizing our judging courses. We always called them modules. And now just to aid in or to lessen the confusion, I guess, between old and new, we're now going to call our courses, our certification divisions. So there'll be division 1, 2, 3, and 4 in judging, and then your Wbtf masters. So we're going to take this season to transition people over into the new naming, and you'll get your personalized letters indicating what your certification levels are if you're a current judge. So now I'm going to take a break here, and I'm going to hand this over to Jenna to talk a little bit more about all the exciting things that are happening in our judging program.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Dana. So I first just want to talk about the 2020 Canadians Focus meeting that we hosted in July. So we thought it was really important that we have a focus meeting for our judges to stay engaged and connected in the sport, as well as to provide an update to many of our judges that were looking for an update or required one. So this is really important that you guys make note of this if your certification is going to be expiring. So just a note that judges must order it through the Cbtf education store. It's a no charge purchase, but it will be added to your education portal account so that we can track it accordingly. You must watch the focus meeting. It does qualify as an update for the M2, M3, and a Wbtf Master Judge certification. So that's really important. And you can always check the status of your expiration date for your courses on the Cbtf website. So make sure you're familiar where you can find that. If not, please contact me. In order for judges to receive an updated credit, they must watch it through the Cbtf education portal and watch all sections, including the freestyle, even if they are not a master judge. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. This is an important date. So the judges will be updated effective July 12th, 2020, which was when we had our series of focus meetings. So not the effective date that you purchased or downloaded the files, because I know obviously with us hosting it in July, it hasn't been posted yet. So we want to make sure that you guys, if you had your certification expiring this summer, that you wouldn't have had the opportunity. So this kind of covers any judges that might have had their certification expiring. So I think we can move on to the next slide. Can I do that, or Dana, do you have to do that?
I just did.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. Oh, sorry, thank you, same title. So competition directors must make every effort possible to have judges arrive the evening before or early in the morning of their competition in order to provide a judges focus meeting on the updated rules and regulations of the events being held at that competition. For focus meetings, all competitions must hold a judges meeting of a minimum of half hour prior to the competition starting time. And judges are reminded that focus meetings are not meant to just sign score sheets and their masters. So just touching on the fact that our focus meetings are really important, especially many judges did not have the opportunity to judge any in-person or possibly virtual competitions this past season. So it's really important that judges take the time to connect with each other, review any new material or any new role models that will be necessary to refer to in the competition season, because we did lots of work behind the scenes this summer. So there's lots of new things that are coming out this competition season. So really important that competition directors make the effort to schedule a focus meeting. And we've already discussed with our judges, it's really important that they're prepared going into the focus meeting and review the appropriate material. So moving on to one of the other projects that Wendy and Sarah took on this summer. So this was an effort to better explain and better reflect to the judges and the coaches the difference between the solo dance twirl and the artistic twirl event. So this new score sheet is going to be effective January 1st of 2021. So the intent of the revision was to better align the score sheet to more effectively assess athletes competing with artistic twirl routines while still maintaining the solo dance twirl event. The goal was to incorporate the ideas of artistic twirl into the solo dance twirl routine and update the outdated verbiage. So it's going to be using existing terminology from the other event score sheets, such as medley, dance twirl team, and twirl team, to help align the new solo dance twirl score sheet. The integrated terminology from the solo dance and artistic twirl written descriptions, as well as the M2 manual. So a huge thank you to Sarah and Wendy for your work on that. And I believe we have a webinar that we are going to be hosting on Sunday, November 8th at 6 p.m. Central. So please register for this webinar. It's open to all of our members, and Wendy and Sarah will be joining me to go through the score sheet, answer any questions, and talk about any things that you may be concerned with, or why they chose the verbiage that they did, and why, the realignment was so important. So this will be a really exciting webinar for everyone to look forward to. Okay, as you can see, we were very busy. This is also very exciting. We have new CMB compulsory role models. So a huge shout out to Ron and Wendy for putting this together. This was a huge amount of work, and I believe it's going to be a very important tool for judges as well as coaches. So this is a training tool and role model that was developed. So it includes training videos, all sub-ranges for CMB compulsories, as well as our role model videos for midpoint ranges for C and B compulsories. So the goal is to have all examples without drops and to fill in the missing ranges. if we continue to videotape compulsories, we should be able to update examples in the future. So I think their biggest concern was just making sure that those role models were there for the right reason. So that's going to be a really great resource this season. Hopefully it'll make the judging more consistent for the level C and B compulsories, as we did not have role models for those 2 levels before. So November is going to be very busy. Every Sunday night, you're going to be with me. So this is going to be on November 15th, again at 6 p.m. Central. It'll be our regular date in the month of November. So again, this is really important that you guys understand why we created these role models, and please review them prior so you can come with questions. The next project that we worked on was the pre-competitive events role model. So this was a project that I was tasked with. So we've completed the preliminary work. I do have some videos and scripts that were developed. There is some further work that needs to be done to fill in some of the missing pieces. So Sarah is going to be helping me with that. And the target is that we will have it done, approved by January, so that the new pre-competitive role models will be ready to go for this competitive season in 2021. So a lot of really exciting things coming. We're moving on to the competitive events role model. So this was a big project that I led. We had Wendy and Natalie from Alberta and Ron and Andrea from Ontario that sat on the committee and developed the new role models and the role model scripts, as well as we created a subcommittee made up of all of the provincial judges reps that reviewed the role models, as well as the education committee. It was really important to us that we had a lot of set of eyes, and we had a high approval rating before rolling these out and getting them approved at the fall technical meeting. So these new role models are for our Cbtf events, which are medley, solo dance, duet, dance twirl team, and pom-pom team. We have videos and scripts that are available that have been updated. Our focus was finding examples that would be there for the right reasons and match the event focus. We also thought it was really important as a judging tool for the medley, solo dance, and duet examples to be at the advancement thresholds of the 2.5, 3.5, 5.0, 7.0. And then we supplemented additional videos in the superior and high excellence superior ranges of 8.0 and 9.0. So thank you to everyone who worked on that committee. That was a big project, and we're all really excited about these new competitive role models. So you can join me again on Sunday, November 22nd at 6 p.m. Central. And we will be talking about the new role models, why we selected those role models, and how you really can utilize them in your judging this upcoming season. Moving on to our national judges selection process. So Cbtf is going to be moving the national selection process ahead by 2 months. So this will be for next season, so fall 2021. So the call for applications will occur in September. The exams will occur in October. The selection committee will meet in November. That way we have our judges selected in time to meet with the requirements for the Wbtf.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenna. There's been a ton of work over the past year from our volunteers in the judging side of things, and looking forward to rolling out those new tools on our webinars. So throughout Jenna's talk there, you may have seen some links pop up in the chat. Jeff was posting the registration links for all of those webinars. So feel free, click on those links and get signed up for the webinars. And if you missed those or you aren't able to do it at the moment, you can also get those links from your provincial technical chair. They've been sent out and are available. So I encourage everybody to sign up for those webinars. Moving into the Wbtf judging system. Just going to touch briefly on the code of points. So Wbtf is working on developing a new judging system for the freestyle event. This will involve a code of points structure that coaches will need to incorporate into their choreography. Please note that this has not yet been implemented, but we wanted to give you the heads up. And we are going to do a webinar. Maureen is going to host this webinar on Sunday, December 13th at 6 p.m. Central. And I would encourage any of our freestyle coaches or potential freestyle coaches to join in and hear about this program. Maureen will share with us what she can from the Wbtf level. I understand it's an ongoing process and nothing is finalized at this point, but it will be good for you guys all to hear about what's in the works so that you can be better prepared once Wbtf does decide to implement it. Oops. Okay, moving on to our national and international competitions. So I will get Joanne just to touch base a little bit on our 2021 Canadian team trials.
All right, so as I reported at the fall conference, and this is just for everyone to still be aware, I haven't heard anything more from our host province from where we had originally planned to have the event this year. It was in Regina in Saskatchewan, and the university had not been taking any bookings as of the summer and as of the fall. They do know about our request though, and so for us right now, of course, it's a wait and see. What the board of directors determined was that the judges who were selected for our 2020 team trials were automatically reselected for 2021. We did have some USTA judges who had been selected, or it might have just been one. I can't remember off the top of my head, but right now, due to border restrictions and quarantine requirements, of course, that wouldn't be possible. Hopefully that changes and hopefully our competition goes ahead. But I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it if we aren't able to have the judges for any of our events that had been selected from the United States come up to judge with us. And I mean, it just time and worldwide conditions will tell.
Thanks, Joanne. And now we'll move to Jeff to talk about the 2021 Canadian Championship.
Okay, so touching on the judges part first, same situation for the judges for Canadians as we did for the team trials, so that the judges who had been selected for the 2020 Canadians are reselected and carried over to be the judges for 2021. The location just shifted by the year. So we were originally planning to be in Moncton in 2020. Now we'll be in Moncton in 2021. Hotel bookings were moved and everything. However, local conditions will determine this and the pandemic conditions will determine this. So right now we're going ahead and proceeding on the basis that we're planning for a 2021 in-person Canadian Championship in Moncton. The Atlantic bubble, of course, could play a role, but we'll see. The one thing that we are, the one thing we've settled on is that assuming we can hold one in person, we know it will contain and include a competition for the individual events. The question mark on that is what will we do about group events and whether we'll have a group competition, because the training opportunities for groups nationwide are more restrictive than the training opportunities for individuals. So the provincial chairs, at the fall conference, the provincial chairs were asked to provide some feedback on the possibility of, on that question of a group competition at Canadians and the possibility of establishing a gating criteria and a decision deadline for the group events, so that we could get to, say, February and have some certainty for everyone across the country as to whether or not there is or isn't going to be a group component to the Canadian Championship. And the provincial chairs have been asked to provide that feedback, and I imagine they're polling within their provinces and getting that feedback back to Joanne so that the board can make its decision for the competition.
Thanks, Jeff. Moving on to the 2021 World Championship, Joanne.
Thanks, Dana. So as we all know, we were to have been in Riccione, Italy this past summer. The Wbtf did what we all know, and what we've done with most of ours, is that everything would get bumped forward by a year. And so the plan is to now have the World Championship that was supposed to be in 2020, in 2021 in Riccione, Italy. We have been having Wbtf board meetings online. We have one coming up in November, and then we are going to have our winter meeting in January, again by Zoom. And so in January will be the time where we will find out, is it possible for this event to go ahead? Is the pandemic going to prevent it, or can we proceed? And because of that, we, at our fall conference, at our fall board meeting, scheduled a Cbtf full board meeting for Sunday, February 7th, 2021. So that's the weekend after the Wbtf winter meeting, so that we can then look at our plans. Is it going ahead? Are things changing? Will our team trial be something that even can occur if this event is being postponed yet again? So that's the status of things. You know, I had gone to the winter meeting and toured Riccione and briefed everyone on what I saw that time. And I mean, it's a fabulous place, and they were very eager to have us. They had lots of fabulous things planned. It's a special anniversary, 40th anniversary of the championship. So, sorry, my dog just ran in the room here and is locked. Anyways, that's all I can give you right now, and we will update you when we hear from the Wbtf.
Thanks, Joanne. Now we'll touch base on the looking ahead to 2022 qualifier. So we will host this in Ontario, and we are looking at a possible partner event with CNBTA as the 2022 Nations Cup and World Championship will be a partnered event at IBTF level in Liverpool, England. So we are aiming to provide all of the disciplines, which are solo, 2-baton, 3-baton, artistic twirl that we know here in Canada. Extra and duet would be new events to us at the IBTF level. Artistic pair, we are familiar with. Twirl team, also known as the Gloria event, is going to be offered. Artistic team, twirling core, artistic group, and then the majorette events as well. So this is on our radar, and we are looking at potential webinars in the new year to introduce some of these non-CBTF events that our members may be interested in participating. So watch for those in the new year. And then looking ahead to 2023, the team trials, that would also be an IBTF event. So the disciplines that they are offering are the freestyle solo that we are all aware of, rhythmic twirl, which is the WFNBTA event. It's the free program only, and then the freestyle pair and the freestyle team. So CBTF is aiming to offer all of the disciplines that will be open for qualification at the IBTF level. Now moving into our administrative section, and I'll hand it over to Joanne once again.
All right, thanks, Dana. So at our fall conference, we looked at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action and how we could incorporate those and address them in our sport. And so what we're asking is for information. We're looking for updates with respect to participation by Aboriginal athletes, support success stories that we could feature. Doesn't matter when they twirled or what they've done, we're looking to tell their stories. And this would be not only athletes, but also coaches and officials as well. If there's something that we can pass on to a local or provincial sports hall of fame, I'd love to have that information and pass it along. And then also we formed an ad hoc committee this summer with respect to Black Lives Matter. And just a moment, I'm going to just move something on my screen here. We had a graphic artist volunteer to produce a graphic for us that you can see on the screen with our logo, and together we flourish Black Lives Matter. I worked with the committee to put together a statement that we did publish online, and then the committee also produced a resource sheet for, it's for use for anyone, aimed at coaches, athletes, participants to look at sharing with your club, with your province, with your membership for resourcing things like shoes and tights, and talking about hair and hairstyling, and just overall inclusivity in terms of the sport. And so we've got that on our website, and I'm very, very thankful to the people who helped on the committee. There was Leisha, Susan, Roomby, and Shannon. So thank you so much. And we're going to find the opportunity and times to continue to promote not only Black Lives Matter and our logo that we have, but also going back to the TRC issue, following through on that and trying to make some meaningful change in how our sport operates. And the next item is a new award. It's the President's Cup Award. This award is something that the board embraced in terms of sort of coming out of the ingenuity that we saw in the face of the pandemic. You see a bit of the description online in front of you, but it's an award that's going to be presented annually. The first one will be presented for 2020, and it can be to a person, a group of people, a club, province, group, etc. And it's at our national level, recognizing how this nominee has demonstrated and implemented innovation in the sport of baton twirling in Canada, where we're looking at, did you come up with something new, as a way of delivery, performance, support, or continuation of the sport in the face of adversity or other challenges? So you have to be Cbtf members. The nomination form for this year is going to be quite simple. It's Karen, our first vice president, is putting it together. It's going to be basically just a short paragraph. Nominations are due November 30th, and then the executive will select a 2020 recipient. And the cutoff, I think, was for up to September 30th, I think. So what you had done that might qualify for this, or someone who who's done this, I think it was up to September 30th, just so that we could capture this in the 2020 year. And then in 2021, it will fall into part of our regular awards presentations. We also have been developing a marketing and communications committee. And so this was something that was established at our fall conference. So just like we have the education committee that works year round on our technical projects, we felt that the executive and board would be well served by having a committee that works on non-technical projects throughout the year. And this one in particular is marketing and communications. And just to follow up from that, there is a committee that's going to be established, and we're just working on the terms of reference. Sorry, moving ahead. The Canadian Contingent Code of Conduct was updated and revised at the fall conference. So take note that we touch on the dress code for athletes at practice. We discuss in there alcohol consumption for coaches and officials. And there's also now provisions for penalties that have been established, are enforceable by team manager or team managers and a Cbtf designate. There is a spectator code of conduct that has been developed and will be a requirement to sign by anyone accompanying the Canadian contingent as a guest. We also have established, but have yet to fill, the position of a complaints officer. So we still have our traditional formal grievance process that still exists, but for those of you who are aware of what has been in development at the board level, we were looking for a way to manage complaints outside of a formal grievance process. So we have a complaints and policy and procedure. We have a position now available, and if anyone has anyone in mind, or if it's something that you think you might be interested in applying for, we do have this position now developed and can offer a way of resolving disputes, conflicts, and other problems in a very quick and efficient manner. There are some parameters associated with this, and the information is available. Have your provincial chair contact me, and we can put you in touch with the information. And we'd like to get this position filled sooner rather than later. Hopefully we never have to use this person, but it's nice to know that it's there.
Thanks, Joanne. So now we'll move on to continuing professional development. This is a part of our coaching, adjudicating, and judging programs. So we did have sort of a pilot informal program in place for the past number of years, but it wasn't monitored or enforced. With our new launch of our programs, this is something that will be enforced and become part of our annual programs. So it's in general, CPD is the ongoing process of maintaining, developing, and documenting your professional skills. So we want to be able to help our technical association members identify and act on their own development needs. So Cbtf will play a role in determining the requirements of the program, but the responsibility for developing a personal program and maintaining the certification rests with the individual member. And in that light, we are going to have a webinar next Sunday, October 25th at 6 p.m. So mark your calendars for that. I would encourage all coaches, judges, and adjudicators to sign up. I will walk you through the program as it's being developed, outline the credits and categories that you need to obtain annually, and answer any questions that you may have coming out of that program. And I've just developed, well, almost finalized an easy, I hope easy to use Excel spreadsheet that will calculate all of your points and categories for you. So it'll just be that you need to enter your information, and it'll keep a running tally for you. But I will go through that next week at the webinar. We're also happy to announce that our Cbtf Athlete Commission put forward a proposal for an athlete award, and it has been approved by the board and will be implemented this year. So this is going to be an award for the athletes by the athletes. So athletes will be the ones nominating, and we're still working out the details of the process, but it could be that the Athlete Commission chooses a winner, or they'll choose a top 3 and present it to the Cbtf Awards Committee. So those details are being developed. It's an award that will be presented annually at our Canadians, and some of the criteria will be sportsmanship, leadership, initiative, passion, and drive. And Cbtf will recognize an athlete that is all encompassing, regardless of their twirling level. So we're really excited, and thanks to Shauna and her Athletes Commission for bringing that idea forward and doing the work to get it developed for us. Level B short program pilot. So due to COVID-19 shortening our season, we couldn't do the full extent of the Level B short program pilot project last year. So we're going to extend that by a year into the upcoming season, and we would like provinces to utilize the pilot project reporting form that you can find on the website, and then report back to me by July 1st of 2021. And then we'll review that pilot project at the next fall meeting. So Maureen is going to do another webinar for us. This one will be Sunday, November 29th. And she will go through the Level B short program proposal and answer any questions you may have regarding that, so that hopefully we can get all provinces involved in this pilot project. So I know we've thrown a lot of webinars your way, but I thought I'd better just do a little summary here for you. So here's the outline. We've got 2 happening next Sunday. So our introduction to continuing professional development, as well as the Judges Selection Committee exams, training and play the game with Jenna. And then Sunday, November 8th, we're going to do the intro to the solo dance troll score sheet. The 15th, we'll do the intro to the compulsory role models. And the 22nd, the intro to the Cbtf role models. And these are for coaches and judges can participate in all of these, and adjudicators in all of these webinars. And helpful hint, they will count towards your points on the continuing professional development program. So you may wish to sign up. Then November 29th, piloting the level B short program, and Sunday, December 13th, the intro to the code of points. Those last two will be done by Maureen. And then we will have additional webinars launched into the new year, along with some of our courses. So just keep watching your emails from your technical chairs. Keep an eye on the webinar, or sorry, the calendar on the website. And we also try to post on social media. So we try to capture 3 different ways of reaching out. And I just want you to mark the save the date. Joanne had mentioned that the Cbtf Winter Board meeting will be Sunday, February 7th. And also we are going to have a Cbtf Winter Technical meeting on Sunday, January 17th. We do have some items that are pending proposal from the fall technical meeting that we just had a little bit of work to do on, and we wanted to get them up and going for the coming year and not wait until fall of next year. So details on those meetings, times, and agendas will be out, but just mark your calendars, save the date for those 2 events if you're on the technical committee or board of directors. So now it's time for some questions and answers. Jeff was going to monitor the chat for me. So Jeff, if there's anything, let me know. If anybody else has questions that you want to ask, I think you can, I'll see if I can get my screen up here. I think you can put your hand up and I'll address you, or type something into the chat. Jeff, did we have anything come up in the chat throughout?
Just now, freestyle restrictions. Are there penalties for unallowed moves?
Freestyle restrictions, are there penalties for unallowed moves? We have not put in a specific penalty for the unallowed moves for this year, but I can see that coming following next year. So at the moment, no, there are not.
Okay. Question about, I guess this is about Canadians, and it was just to confirm that we wouldn't be making any decision about groups until February 2021. So that deals with the gating criteria that I talked about, and I just put February as a date, that's a straw man. The idea is that the provinces were asked to get some feedback about whether we should even have a group competition, plan to have a group competition at Canadians, and secondly, if we were to have one, if they wanted to establish any gating criteria. So any sort of, you have to, certain number of provinces have to be able to have group practices by such and such a date. But the idea is that the provinces will get that feedback back to Cindy. They're supposed to have it back by the end of this month. And then the board will meet, consider the feedback from the provinces, and make a decision about whether we will or won't have a group competition. And if we do, whether we'll have a gating criteria and what that criteria would be. That's when we would decide what our cutoff date is to be making a decision and so on. Now we have a bunch. Okay.
I see. Okay, so LCAD, the question is, would it be possible to add expected training times at each of the levels as a guideline for coaches, athletes, and parents? Yep, Jen, that's in there. It's on each page of the document. So just make sure to download the PDF. I didn't have that those details up on the screen, but it is within the PDF. Next question is, do you need a penalty judge looking at freestyle restrictions? At the moment, no, since we're not taking deductions for those. we wouldn't implement a penalty judge, but I think with this year, I think it'll be that we put the restrictions in place and we ask that coaches respect them. And then I have a feeling that we will have to put penalties in place for the following season.
And if I could just toss one thing in there about the penalties for this freestyle stuff. We do have experience both in, for example, the International Cup world with the level A and level B of having content restrictions with a penalty judge and with a penalty. But we also have experience in competitions where there are content restrictions, but there are no penalty judges and there are no penalties, and we expect judges or we expect coaches and athletes to respect the fair play, and that would be the Pan Pacific Cup. And so, and both have their place, both are successful. The Pan Pacific Cup, I don't think there really are any problems with people abusing the content restriction guidelines.
Okay. Question is for freestyle, if you're level A, you must remain level A. Can you explain how this works with the increased qualifying scores for level A, 45? Yeah, we don't allow reverting back. So if you were level A last year or in previous years, you do have to stay level A for this year. Next question, if we didn't get our letter stating our new coaching certification level, who do we reach out to? You can send me an email for that one and I'll forward it again. That was last October. So if it's somebody who's been away from the sport and returning, and so they were certified before they left and took a year off or 2 years off, so they probably wouldn't have been flagged to receive a new letter. So definitely reach out in that case as well. Next question is for the new coaches certifications. Could someone be certified in competition 1 and training for competition 2? Yes. So last year, I didn't put it up this year, but there is a whole, I have a chart. So you can still be, working on completing and being certified at one level and still doing and taking your theory for the next level. So there is that ability to overlap there. I think that's all the questions, unless there's any more that are going to pop up. I'll give it a minute. Doesn't look like it. So just thanks everybody for joining us this evening. And I always like to, oh, we did get another question here. Level A, if you don't make that score, you do not move on. Correct. So sorry, going back to the freestyle or pair, if you don't achieve the score at 45, you can't move on to Canadian. So it's like a qualifier. I think that's what Maureen was intending there with that. Okay, so yeah, I'll leave you with a quote. So be like a flower, survive the rain, but use it to grow. We've all been in a situation past 7 or 8 months that's stressful for everybody, but hopefully we can come through this and come out on the other side even better. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and I hope to see a lot of people joining in on our webinars in the coming Sundays. We'll see you every Sunday night.
Thanks.